and I am the marketing specialist here at Boost Midwest. And today I have joining me Carolyn Peer. Carolyn is the CEO at Humaxa. And Carolyn, I would just like to kind of let you introduce Humaxa and who you are. So if you could just introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Nikki.
Yeah, of course.
So Humaxa, we have created an AI assistant that predicts and prevents workforce issues through conversational AI. So it's a little like Siri or Alexa, but it talks to employees about the workplace and it tries to figure out ways to make things better using prediction models. So things like collaboration, things about workplace discussions, ideation, innovation, things that will help the company move forward. And it sort of automates that process at the whole time. And during that whole time, it's also collecting data anonymously and presenting it back to the organization. So if there's any kind of problem that's just starting to percolate, or even just finding ways to make things even better, both employees and employer can kind of attack the problem from two directions.
Wow, that's very interesting. Very good take, especially for everything we've gone through in the last few years. So with that said, can you give us kind of an idea and a background on how you got Humaxa to where it is and what was the background story? How did this all start?
Sure. So I started working at an early stage HR technology startup it's been quite a while now, about 15 years ago. And I was an early employee there and we grew the company and it was eventually acquired by ADP.
Oh, okay.
And then I ended up taking a role at ADP running one of their learning and performance organizations for national accounts. So their biggest clients. And during that 15-year period, I essentially listened to clients and what they wanted to be able to do with data. Right. They would say things to me like, Carolyn, you're sitting on all this data, all this employee feedback data, all this compensation data, all this data that has been collected. And why can't you help us predict and prevent these kind of problems that come up that make people want to leave? You know, It's hard to even go a day without hearing the words great resignation in the news. That's relatively recently, but even before then, things would pop up in the workplace that would make people either kind of disengage or not perform the best that they could. Maybe they're reluctant to, put their hand up and say, I have this problem, or I'm struggling with my mental health. I don't feel like I have all the tools that I need to be successful on the job. Ideally, you'd be able to just open up and get everything you need, but sometimes people get busy. Managers get busy, things start happening fast, and it falls beneath the surface. And so this Max is a way to just kind of automate that process, make it fun, make it interactive, and make it useful for both the employee and the employer.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think, obviously we talked about the great resignation, and that's something Boost talks about a lot, especially now that people are starting to go back into the workforce. And I think at the beginning now it's the other side of the shift, right? We're starting to go back into the workforce, whereas beginning of, the pandemic, we were coming out of the workforce and learning how to work from home and be around our family and friends or whoever you live with all the time. So that mental health piece is huge. And, there were studies done and everything. So is there a specific niche or industry that you work with specifically with Humaxa, or is there a specific industry that you see a lot of repetitive clients come through?
I think the industries that kind of suffer from turnover tend to be our kind of niche industry, especially ones where their employees are essential part of their product that they offer or their service that they offer. So, consultancies, like human capital, like where you maybe have a customer service team that you can offer to help supplement existing customer service teams, like the people who are client facing, like those kind of organizations that have that are kind of our target. Because obviously most organizations like that your people are simultaneously your most valuable and your most expensive thing. It's like, I mean, you wouldn't want to have, a huge manufacturing organization that you have all these machines that you maintain in order to be able to get manufacturing done the best way possible, but then ignore your people, which are, also very, like very expensive, investments, really.
Yeah. You're totally right. And so obviously, like these clients and these more client facing niches or industries, they are very, well, they're humans, right? So they all have specific needs, specific wants. Would you mind explaining how your team or you work towards configuring a product or a service for these individuals and their unique needs? Excuse me.
Absolutely. So we designed the platform to be essentially infinitely customizable. There's a whole bunch of things that our assistant knows to talk about that are universal, things like job growth or fair pay or professional development or mental health, these things that kind of apply to everyone. But I always suggest looking at what are those key topics that will really help an organization meet their goals. So it could be around customer service, or it could be around marketing, or it could be around sales, or it could be around innovation for each organization. So, I mean, a really quick example would be an industrial engineering organization that we're currently working with. They have a population, their workforce, that are being asked to relearn their jobs, in essence, because of technology and innovation. So these are industrial engineers who are mostly hired because they were good at fixing things. And now they're being asked to learn how to program IoT devices, how to program proximity sensors and pressure sensors, these things. And they're saying, hey, I was hired to fix things. This is not what I signed up for. So they have trouble with people leaving or just not being, feeling like they're doing a good job, and struggling with how do you make this transition? At the same time, they're having trouble getting new people in the door because maybe manufacturing isn't this, cool, awesome technology that people don't necessarily look at it that way. So they have the kind of, two things going on. So they're the intent is to use Humaxa to find out what do people need, what has worked to help their workforce kind of make this transition. It's very unique to their situation, and it's easy to customize by having Max talk about these things are very specific. Now, any other organization who doesn't have those specific problems or situations, they wouldn't be interested in those things. But you just literally can put in the system, I want you to talk about this. I want you to talk about this. I want it to lead to these kind of solutions and make it work for each individual organization.
Yeah, that's great. So once Humaxa has kind of, I don't want to say done its duty, but once it collects this data, and do you give it the raw data back to the clients, and then they assess where the issues are? How does that work? After, I don't say after Humaxa, but during the process of using Humaxa.
Right. So it's a live data feed. So you don't ever have to wait. It's live. You don't ever have to wait. You can always look at any point in time and just see kind of where everything is. And so long as there's at least 8 data points around this topic or this question, something you're trying to figure out, then it will show you the raw data, so the numeric data, and also not who is saying what, but what is being said, in order to kind of dig in and really get into root cause of what's going on and how to make it better.
Yeah. Is any specific reason why the number 8?
It's a statistical, like when you go below 8, I mean, you get into maybe somebody could be identified just by having, like, if only one person is on a team and then someone responds, even if it's anonymous, you're gonna know who it is, right? Right. So it's a statistical number around, making sure that people feel safe if they do want to talk about things anonymously that, maybe they're struggling with, or maybe a whole team is struggling with something. And, you get someone who's brave enough to step up and say, hey, this is what's going on. here are some ideas of how to make things better.
And what size of an industry or company organization do you typically work with?
Typically more than 20 employees.
Okay.
We do have some that are less, but typically 20 and up, because it's just, I mean, if you think about it, if you only have 5 people and everybody works together in one office, together, the chances of you not really knowing what's going on and what people need and want is very low. It's not that there's anything functionally that doesn't work. It's just the value that you get especially if you have a team that is spread out, and as you start to get more and more people, then it gets harder to really kind of make that happen automatically.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, if you're the only one person, I think everybody's going to know who asked the question.
Right, exactly.
So is there anything you wish you would have known before taking the role as this business leader with Humaxa?
I think everybody talks about how tough it is as a small business, as a starting from zero, starting from nothing. And I, of course, had read different articles about that. I don't think you ever really know what it's like as a small business owner until you're doing it and you realize how incredibly tough it can be. Like, soul crushingly tough.
Right. Yes. And then last question, what are some recent changes that you've seen in the industry or the business that still excites you and get you excited about Humaxa's future?
Changes in the industry? I'm sorry,
Yes. Yep. That's correct. Yeah. With the industry changing and everything, are you excited about Humaxa's future? And what are you excited about?
Well, I mean, in the last couple of years, just the sort of disruption that's had in the workforce in general, in everybody's workforce. I mean, we've all been through so much as it relates to COVID, and now, now we're moving into a new chapter. I think there will always be new chapters and new things that come up. I think that's what's most exciting is that people are really taking a look at the whole human capital management process and realizing that there is a lot of value in being able to unlock your teams to be able to, to do a better job with customer service or sales or marketing or innovation or all these things, and being able to open up these communication channels, automate the process, predict what will help people, and get that flowing sort of automatically. There's an enormous value in that. And I don't think that maybe a few years ago, people would have been as open to using technology to kind of help make that happen. And that's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. And I think that does, like you mentioned, take out the awkwardness between two employees when you really have an issue and you don't really want to talk about it, but it's bothering you enough to talk about it. And so I think this is great. And I think it's a great way for people to open up with their team members, as well as, the higher leadership within the team, those stakeholders, they can really start making a difference within their own organizations. So Carolyn, where can people find you? We can see that you have your number and your email there, but if you want to give us a little bit of how to contact you, and we'll definitely get that posted up there.
Sure, absolutely. So our website is easy. It's www.humaxa.com, Humaxa. You're welcome to talk with me. Just have a conversation is always good. Yeah. I promise I won't try to sell you anything. I'm more just interested in like what problems people have and what tools they're using to solve them. And then if there's a way we can help, great. If not, no big deal. We can, just learn from each other. And I'm always trying to find ways to help other people too. So you can reach me directly, carolyn.peer@humaxa.com. That's my email address. And
awesome.
I hope
good.
I can help.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Again, this is Carolyn Peer with Humaxa. I'm Nikki with Boost Midwest, and you can contact Boost Midwest at boostmidwest.com. So thanks again, Carolyn, and we wish you all the best.